We've all been there, faced with something new and unfamiliar, our minds racing with worst-case scenarios and our hearts pounding with anticipation. Whether it's a new technology, a new place, or a new experience, the unknown can be a powerful catalyst for fear. Think back to when you first learned to write. Remember the feeling of holding a pencil in your hand, unsure of how to make the marks on the page? The fear of making a mistake, of not doing it right? It's a feeling that's universal, and one that we never really outgrow. As adults, we may laugh at the idea of being scared of something as simple as a pencil, but the truth is that our fear of the unknown is still very much alive. We may not be afraid of writing, but we're afraid of things that we don't understand, things that we can't control. And it's this fear that can be the most debilitating of all. Imagine giving your smartphone to your grandparent and watching as they struggle to navigate the unfamiliar interface. They may be able to make a call or send a text, but anything more complex and they're lost. And it's not just technology, it's anything that's new, anything that's unfamiliar. We're scared of what we don't know, and we're scared of what we can't control. But what happens when we're faced with something that's not just unfamiliar, but also unexplainable? Something that defies our understanding of the world and challenges our perceptions of reality. That's when the real fear sets in, the kind of fear that can't be rationalized or explained away. It's the kind of fear that comes from deep within, a primal fear that's hardwired into our very being. And it's this fear that we're going to explore in a story that will take you to the very limits of your understanding and beyond. So, if you're ready to face your fears and to confront the unknown, then keep listening. But be warned, once you start down this path, there's no turning back. As I pulled up to my friend's house, a sense of nostalgia washed over me. We had reconnected on Facebook after all these years, and I was excited to catch up with her and meet her family. She had invited me to stay with them for a few days, and I had finally taken her up on the offer. As I stepped out of the car, my friend and her husband greeted me with warm smiles. They welcomed me into their home, and we spent the evening reminiscing about old times and sharing stories. The house was cozy and inviting, filled with the delicious smells of home-cooked food and the sound of laughter. But as the night wore on, I began to notice that my friend's husband seemed a bit off. He would glance out the window every now and then, his expression clouding over with a look of concern. When I asked him if everything was okay, he just shook his head and muttered something about it being complicated. I didn't press the issue, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was bothering him. As I settled into the guest bedroom, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The house was quiet and still, but I could have sworn I heard a faint creaking sound coming from outside. I tried to tell myself it was just the wind, but the feeling of being watched lingered. The next morning, I woke up early and decided to take a walk around the neighborhood. My friend joined me, and we strolled through the quiet streets, chatting about everything and nothing. As we walked, I noticed that the houses seemed to loom over us, their windows like empty eyes staring back. I shivered, despite the warmth of the sun on my skin. As we turned a corner, I caught sight of the neighboring house. It was an old, rundown place with overgrown gardens and a general air of neglect. My friend noticed my gaze and followed it to the house. "That's the old man's house," she said, her voice low and serious. "He used to be a kind soul, but after he passed away, his son moved in, and that's when things started to get strange." I felt a shiver run down my spine as she spoke. There was something about the way she said "strange" that sent a chill through me. "What do you mean?" I asked, my curiosity piqued. My friend hesitated, glancing around nervously as if she was afraid of being overheard. "It's just that the son is not a very nice person," she said finally. "He's always complaining about something, and he seems to take pleasure in making our lives difficult. And then there are the noises." She trailed off, leaving me wondering what she meant. Noises? What kind of noises? I felt a sense of trepidation building inside me, and I couldn't help but wonder what was really going on in that house. And what was my friend hiding? Once I coax her into sharing the tale, she begins to recount the terrifying experiences that unfolded within their home. Her narration starts off gradually, setting the stage for the chilling events to come. As the days went by, my friend began to notice a disturbing trend in her house. "The food is spoiling so quickly," she said. "I don't know what's causing it." At first, she thought it might be due to the cookware, so they replaced all the pots and pans with new ones. But the problem persisted, and the food continued to spoil with eerie rapidity. "I don't know what's going on," my friend said, "but I feel like something is watching us." The air in the house was also filled with a noxious odor, like the stench of dead rats or something even more foul. "It smells like something is dead in here," her husband said, "but I don't know what it is." As the nights wore on, the family began to experience terrifying nightmares. "I had the worst dream last night," my friend said. "I saw someone injured and bleeding all over the place. The two boys would wake up in the dead of night screaming and crying, with the same horrific images seared into their minds. Mom, I had a bad dream," one of them would say. "I saw blood everywhere." My friend and her husband would try to comfort them, but they couldn't shake off the feeling that something was watching them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "I don't know what's happening to us," my friend said, "but I feel like we're in danger." The nightmares became a regular occurrence, and the family would often gather together to pray, seeking solace in their faith. "Please protect us from harm," they would pray, "and keep us safe from evil." But the nightmares never stopped, and the sense of dread only intensified. It was as if some dark presence was seeping into their dreams, poisoning their minds with visions of blood and terror. "I don't know how much more of this I can take," my friend said. "I feel like I'm losing my mind." As the evenings drew to a close, the family would gather in the living room to watch TV or listen to music. But without fail, one of them would suddenly develop a splitting headache, as if some unseen force was piercing their brain with a dagger of pain. "My head is killing me," one of them would say. "I need to lie down." They would try to ignore it, but the pain would become too much to bear, and they would have to turn off the TV or music. "Let's just go to bed," my friend would say. "I don't feel like watching TV anymore." The house would fall silent, and the family would sit in stunned silence, wondering what was happening to them. "What's going on?" my friend would ask. "Why is this happening to us?" But there were no answers, only an eerie feeling that something was watching them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The problem escalated to a terrifying level when they were alone in the house. Every time they wanted to take a bath, someone would knock on the bathroom door. Can you imagine how frightening it would be to hear a loud knock on the door while you're alone in the house, knowing that no one else is home? It's a feeling of utter dread and vulnerability. My friend would shout from the bathroom, "Who's there?" "Why are you knocking on the door?" But there would be no response. She would search the house from top to bottom, but there would be no one in sight. This eerie phenomenon occurred not only to her, but also to her husband and their two boys. One day, she asked her husband to move the car outside so she could clean the front of the house. As soon as he parked the car, he made a gruesome discovery. Under the car, he found the head of a chicken, its eyes frozen in a permanent stare. One eye open, the other eye closed. The chicken's head had been severed, and it seemed to have been thrown under the car with a sinister intent. My friend was horrified and screamed at the sight, but her husband tried to downplay the incident, suggesting that it might be the work of a stray cat that had rummaged through the dustbin and eaten under the car. However, things took a darker turn when my friend started seeing a small brown light moving around the house. The light would flit from room to room, and they would try to catch it or get a closer look, but it would always evade them. This paranormal activity was the final straw, and my friend's husband realized that something was seriously wrong. He knew they needed to seek help from someone who could deal with this kind of situation. They consulted numerous witchcraft practitioners and asked them to perform various rituals to cleanse their home of the malevolent energy. However, despite spending a significant amount of money, the problems persisted. Nothing seemed to work, and the family was at their wits' end. Tragedy struck when my friend's husband met with an accident. Fortunately, he survived, but the incident was a wake-up call for the family. As they discussed the strange occurrences in their house with the person beside his hospital bed, the person overheard their conversation and suggested that they meet with a particular witchcraft practitioner. The person gave them the practitioner's contact number, and the family decided to give it a try, hoping that this might be their last resort to find peace and rid their home of the evil presence. As the witchcraft practitioner revealed the shocking truth, the family's eyes widened in horror. Their neighbor, the old man's son, had been secretly performing dark rituals to drive them out of their home, fueled by a twisted desire to acquire the property and expand it into a grand estate. The witchcraft practitioner, however, was determined to put an end to the evil plans. He performed a powerful ritual, one that would prevent anyone, including the malevolent entity, from entering their home without their permission. The family was warned not to make eye contact with their neighbor, lest they inadvertently invite the darkness back in. And so, the house began to transform, the atmosphere shifting from one of dread to one of peace. But, as I listened to this chilling tale, I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. The darkness that lurked within human hearts was a terrifying thing, and I realized that the most fearsome monsters were not the supernatural entities, but the people who walked among us hiding their true intentions behind masks of innocence. As I returned to my own home in the evening, I couldn't help but wonder, what secrets were my own neighbors hiding? Do you have a similar story to share? A tale of darkness and terror that lurks in the shadows of your own neighborhood? Share your stories with me, and let's face our fears together. What's your darkest experience with a neighbor? Share your story in the comments below, and let's uncover the truth behind the sinister intentions of those who live among us. Thank you for watching this chilling story. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more terrifying tales. Explore other genres of horror and scary stories on this channel. There's something to keep every horror fan awake at night. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload.